I told you guys we were coming back, right? You thought I was lying. We are back. Now, I have to say, IoT is one of my things that I kind of dig and I play around with. And if you guys follow me enough, you kind of know it's one of my things. And this product is kind of near and dear to me because, as you also probably well know, I helped to write the blog to launch this during reInvent. It is IoT Analytics. And Sergeyus, did I say it right?
Yep.
Southern accent, still can say it right. And I love your name tag, it's so cool. Tell us who you are and what is cool about IoT Analytics.
So I'm Sergeyus, I'm software engineer on IoT Analytics, and today we'll try to talk through IoT Analytics, what it is, and how we can help customers analyzing IoT data.
I love it. All right, so for everyone who maybe was hiding during reInvent, tell us what IoT Analytics is. Let's get that out the way so you guys don't even have to ask the question. We're going to tell you exactly what we're talking about. If you missed it during reInvent, tell us about it. Give us the quick and dirty why we can't wait to dig into it.
So IoT Analytics consists of several things. We help customers to prepare data coming from devices. We help customers to filter and normalize this data, and then allow them to query time series data, and device data is time series data. We allow customers to use this data to train their machine learning models. We have today integration with SageMaker. And basically we allow customers to perform different kind of advanced analysis as well, perform anomaly detection and other things.
What I think is really powerful to me about IoT Analytics, and I just playing with it has really been powerful, is there's a lot of data that comes back from devices. And there's a lot of this data that at the time, based upon what I'm analyzing and what I'm looking for, I don't care about. But there's certain slices of this data that I have to then weed through to get the information I really want and aggregate that from different sources. And what's really powerful about this is this helps me to do that a whole lot easier, to actually analyze the data that's coming from tons of devices, get that data, and then like you said, I can use it to train a model, I can search on it. I mean, this is something if you are doing anything with devices, it's just such a pain. It was a painful thing to do.
That's right. Before we started, we talked to lots of customers, and despite analytics, if you heard IoT Analytics, the first reaction, I'll try analyzing the data. The problem is, once we started talking to customers, it actually takes a lot of work to prepare data for analysis. I mean, analysis is a huge part, machine learning, running on top of analysis, different queries, time series queries, etc. But preparation of data, that's one of the things that I think has been overlooked for a while, and we're trying to bridge this gap by introducing IoT Analytics and preparation of data in this part. And as you said, like, we're getting petabytes of data coming off small devices. And the thing is that there are millions of these devices. Some of them are powerful, some of them are less. And I would say most of them are less powerful.
Yeah.
It means that they are relatively cheap devices. They send data that is sometimes actually invalid. Sometimes you have to actually filter the data because they send some nonsense.
Right.
And that takes a lot of effort, to be frank.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and also, if you think about it, to your point, some of these small devices can only send small chunks of data, other ones can send larger, and they don't match. So then how can I get this data that may be consistent as far as the data I want from across these different devices that are sending different workloads and payloads back?
That's right. I think, but for answering this, I'll probably mention several concepts we have in IoT Analytics. So the first one is channel, and the channel is basically the endpoint where your devices send data, and today we have integration with AWS IoT Core, and we will have an API available during the general availability as well. And the idea behind that is basically you send all this data into a channel, and channel is logical endpoint. It stores your raw device data, and then the next thing and the next concept is a pipeline. So the pipeline connects to a channel, and the pipeline is meant to actually perform different kind of normalizations, filtering, enrichment as well. You mentioned that devices are constrained. So they send really small amounts of information because they try to save energy, the battery power, right? So what happens in that case, I want to get more information like my location, some information about the maintenance, etc. And they operate with IDs in most cases. So I have to bring the context as well. So pipelines is actually the concept we have that allows you to do this. So channel plus pipelines allow you to actually gather all this data from devices and then enrich it and start analyzing afterwards once the information is put into the data store.
So it changes, it takes this situation where it takes it from raw data to actually then possibly information. And I think that's what is really key. We want to aggregate information out of this data, and like you said, from different constrained devices. So that's really powerful. And like, I could just talk about the machines that I have laying around my house, trying to get the different ones aggregating to get the same data, something really simple, like temperature data in different rooms. Totally, and I only have like a small amount of devices. So imagine doing that for millions. Like it's not an easy task, guys, trust.
And even, let's say you have even almost the same model of the device. One operates in Europe, another in the States. Now you have to convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius and the opposite way. So all this data wrangling takes a while, especially missing readings or invalid readings. That takes a lot of effort, for sure.
We want to save you guys time. We know it's really important for you to build some of the cool things with the IoT analytics and the data that's coming back.
One thing to point out that this data preparation is only one part. So once the data is there, I mentioned the channel and pipeline we have in place. We have the notion of the data store, and it's basically abstraction on top of multiple database technologies that allows you to query time series data. And this data store is time series optimized. So once your data is there and it's ready for analysis, now you start querying this data. And for querying this data, we have a concept called data set. And the data set is basically, you define a SQL query against the data store, that is time series optimized data store, and then we periodically refresh this data for you. And that's the data you can actually use for machine learning, for dashboarding, or any other use cases, programmatic use cases you want.
So on Twitch, Matterstorm, sorry, he's asking one question, but he actually made me want to ask you another one. So security. We talked about we have a channel, we have a pipeline, we're doing some analysis on data coming out. I know people are going to want to know about security, so let's get that question out the way. Tell us about security.
So AWS IoT Analytics, as any other AWS service, has a first-class integration with identity and access management.
IAM is your friend, yep.
So that means as well that you can define as a customer exact policies and access privileges for channel as an entity, for the pipeline, for data store, etc. So you have a granular control over that.
Exactly. So hopefully Matterstorm that helped you out. I said Matterstore, tongue twisted. Matterstorm, hopefully that asked you out. So now we have our data, we know it's secure, we've set up our channel, we've set up our pipeline, we're starting to query on the data. What else can I do now that I'm doing this? Give me something, I want something real. What will customer now be able to do with this? I can come up with things in my mind, I'm sure but you work with some customers that I know have done some cool things.
So we have customers in both segments, consumer electronics and then industrial. And the use cases, funny enough, are vastly different.
Yes.
Even though, like conceptually, they try to accomplish the same thing. They try to analyze the data and somehow act upon this data. Because once you analyze, so you have your data ready. What's next? We have several customers that tries to gather this data and try to optimize the behavior of the devices. So one of our customers, I won't name it, it's a vacuum cleaner customer of ours. So they gather all the data from the vacuum cleaners, and then they try to understand whether the Wi-Fi connection is poor or it's okay. What is the average session time? And the session time is from when you start vacuuming till you end, etc. So they try to optimize how much should I charge to cover this specific area. So all this kind of information comes out of this analysis. And in most cases, like one thing, you have the trained model that you train using AWS IoT Analytics and SageMaker, for example, but then you actually want to use this data and push it back to the device. So to basically start making intelligent decisions there. So that's one of the things. Another one from the industrial space, we have customers with, one of our customers from oil and gas industry. They have multiple locations, multiple physical locations. So what we are trying to do, what they're trying to do is basically to make sure they can optimize one location, learn from that, and then use these best practices, how to optimize all other locations as well.
So, okay, so that's cool, but you know what I'm thinking about, and of course, I kind of got to play with it early, so it's kind of wrong, but it's cool. What's cool about this, yeah, we got the data, right, and we can query it, but sometimes I just need a snapshot of what's happening. right? Sometimes this data aggregated, I just need a snapshot to say, oh, Danger Will Robinson, something is wrong with my devices in Europe versus my devices that are in Atlanta. Yes, I'm going to have to do the South thing. So I kind of know this, but I want the guys out there to know, what if I just want to see information aggregated in a way that I can immediately glance at this dashboard-like thing and say, okay, something is wrong here, Danger Will Robinson. What can I do there?
So again, we're trying to help this in multiple ways. I mentioned, so we have a data store that's basically contains all your time series data, but then we have a data set. And the data set is almost like a materialized view today of your data. We downsample data.
Nice.
And I mentioned this before as well, we refresh it periodically. So the whole idea behind that is, the unique challenge with IoT data is that you have potentially petabytes of data in your data store. But then once you perform analysis, the output of this analysis is, at best, we're talking gigabytes, if not in megabytes. So that's the data set. And then we have a native integration with QuickSight today that basically you can visualize this data and create dashboards. And we have customer, again, in consumer electronics space that basically created marketing dashboards using the IoT Analytics, QuickSight, et cetera, basically end-to-end flow and see, okay, how my devices are performing in the world.
Okay, so this is cool. We kind of talked about IoT analytics. You guys get it, but you know, I'm all about the code and how this works. So what do we support as far as getting this data aggregated? How do we get it from the device that could be running anything? You know, either a C embedded library, JavaScript, Python with Raspberry Pi. How do I get now this data to send the IoT analytics? How do I capture it? I'm ready to get into how do I build? What do I do?
So there are two ways you can actually inject this data. The first one, if you're already a customer of AWS IoT Core, so you send data using MQTT, etc. So we have integration with Rules Engine. So Rules Engine is one part of the AWS IoT Core that allows you to route messages. So as you know, Rules Engine has multiple targets, so you can route this into. So AWS IoT Analytics is one of the possible options. So you can actually route your messages within Rules Engine to AWS IoT Analytics.
I love that. Yeah, the integration is right there. So just like you can fire off, you know, for your IoT core, a Lambda function or sending data to DynamoDB, I now can actually take my Rules Engine and say, send this to IoT Analytics and start this process.
Yep. So if you're already using Rules Engine, you actually literally can just add another target, and that's it. You suddenly start using AWS IoT Analytics. Another part that the way you can send this data is on the channel, we expose batch API as well.
Nice.
So if you don't use today AWS IoT Core, but you want to leverage AWS IoT Analytics, and we see some patterns in the industrial space, they want to send massive amount of data. So we expose batch API to actually ingest, put messages into the channel.
Excellent. So if I have my code running already, it's running IoT Core, I'm sending data, whether it be from Greengrass triggered or on the edge or whether it's IoT Core, I can send that in, have that Rules Engine trigger to IoT Analytics, and now I'm up in the races to actually look at my data and have things actionable happen on it.
That's right, that's exactly how it works.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so now that we know that, tell me what else can I do with my data? So I got my raw data, you transferred it, we got data in, I'm looking at it, I know my hotspots. What else can I do?
So one of the things I mentioned before was machine learning.
Machine learning.
So, and there are great announcements about the SageMaker.
Yeah.
So we also have native integration with SageMaker.
Nice.
With Amazon SageMaker. And one of the things we do provide is, if you go to AWS IoT Analytics console, we have native integration where you can actually create a notebook that will be hosted today in Amazon SageMaker. But while creating the notebook, we can actually help customers, and we have several templates, Jupyter templates, where one is for predictive maintenance, another for anomaly detection, and we have several of them. So if you want to start analyzing, for example, for anomalies, or you want to create a replenishment model, we try to help our customers and guide. Obviously, there is no silver bullet there. So every customer has to adopt this to their specific needs, but at least we try to guide them through this process and say, hey, this is the important parts you want to keep all configured, but we are trying to give the framework and host this in the Jupyter notebook and then run on customer behalf.
So of course you know I had to. I'm all about getting it dirty. So I have my IoT Analytics open. So once I prepare my data, I have my channel data store, where would I, because I know people are trying to do this with me as we do it, if I wanted to now take this data coming in and actually train a model, where will I go in the console now that I have my data set up with IoT Analytics?
So you go to the analyze part, and from there you will see the notebooks section.
Cool.
And from the notebooks you can say create new, and that's the place where you can say I want a blank notebook, and so I know exactly what I want to write. I'm a data scientist, I use Jupyter, or you can say I want to start from the template, and we provide several templates I mentioned before, like anomaly detection, predictive maintenance, etc.
Excellent. And I forgot that I'm not plugged in, so you guys can see my screen. Not smart. But okay, so trust me, go now to the console IoT Analytics login, and you'll see under Analyze, I have my data sets and I have my notebooks. And I pulled it up in a different region so that I don't have all my IoT Analytics stuff, and it's really seamless to get started if you don't have notebooks and stuff already set up like I have in a different region. So go and try it now. You can't see my screen, but you guys can do it, right? Yes, you can. I see you waving your head. So we have a question from Democrat66 about SageMaker and IoT. Will Deep Lens, well, I don't know about this, but can we talk about the fact, Deep Lens has some integration about that. Can you talk about, is Deep Lens just another device that can send to IoT Analytics, and then therefore to publish your SageMaker and IoT and everything else? Talk about that.
So that's right, and that's one of the, again, anything that talks, for example, AWS IoT Core and can send messages, including this device, can leverage AWS IoT Analytics. The ultimate goal is to basically close the loop. Your device or your devices send data into the cloud using Greengrass, using AWS IoT Core, then they go into the analytics. From there, we help customers to cleanse the data and train the model using the Amazon SageMaker. And the ultimate goal is basically once you analyze your data, once you have trained your model, you want to push it back, and that's where the Greengrass inference comes in, etc. So as the AWS as a whole, we're trying to close the loop, so your devices send data to the cloud, you analyze data in the cloud, because cloud is way more powerful than devices. Absolutely. So you analyze this data, and then you create the models, and you push it back to the device.
So quick question, so do I have any restrictions on device? I'm kind of asking you questions I know the answer to, but these are questions I get, right? So yeah, this sounds great. I'll give you the exact question I got, actual live when I was over in Europe. This sounds great, that's wonderful, but I run my BeagleBone Black. I don't think you support that, do you? Or do you not? Tell us about, it can be any device, right? Are there any restrictions? I'm gonna ask the questions that you guys asked me. Are there any restrictions on device or platform in getting my data into IoT Analytics?
So, in general, if you run today Greengrass, you're good to go. Okay. If your device can access HTTPS endpoints, you're good to go. Okay. Even today, like if you're using FreeRTOS, Amazon FreeRTOS, we announced during the reInvent. Yes. You can actually plug all the way to the Greengrass, to the AWS IoT Core, to the AWS IoT Analytics. So there are lots of opportunities to accomplish this.
Sounds like it's very few restrictions on how we would do this. What about getting started? So obviously, you guys, if you remember correctly during reInvent, you can check out my blog with it. But how do people get started? So I'm ready. I am sold about this IoT Analytics. How would I get started? Tell me, yeah.
So I guess that's the bummer comes. If you remember, we're still in preview mode.
Preview.
So what we are trying to accomplish before opening to every customer, we want still to learn. The use cases varies a lot. So we have consumer electronics, we have industrial customers, lots of different use cases. So we're trying to observe different kind of use cases and see, can we help customer? Can we provide the bare minimum of the use cases that can be covered with AWS IoT Analytics? So I'm happy to say that we are close.
We're close.
For opening to everyone, but if you're interested, go to AWS IoT Analytics webpage, sign up for preview.
Okay.
And we will.
So preview is still open?
Yes, and we will whitelist you.
Okay. So we had another question um, from the Twitter handle is, can this be used for, I'm going to read exactly what it is. I wonder if this can be used for real training with NLP in JavaScript. Any thoughts? Can this be used? So can this data that I'm aggregating be used in real time to train data? He named a language, but the gist of it, can I do this in real time and train data?
So I would like to split the question into the two.
True, okay, got
The
it.
first one is, can I access this data from the JavaScript?
Okay.
Absolutely. So we provide the standard AWS SDK. We yet another service. So whatever JavaScript SDK you have today, it will be basically the same SDK you can access AWS IoT Analytics.
Nice.
So you can access the data sets, and that's the actual content. You can download the content and use it from JavaScript. So in this case, it's standard AWS SDK, so we support all the languages AWS SDK supports. So that's the first question.
Okay.
The second one is regarding the near real time. So again, the near real time, right now we are focusing more on the periodic refreshes, and we're not talking about sub-seconds today. We are talking about slightly bigger windows. And again, the reminder is we're talking about the data coming from millions of devices. We are talking about the petabytes of data. So the refresh period today is slightly higher than near real time, but that's, if we hear from customers, that's exactly what they want, we will make sure it happens.
So it's something I know that I really liked about IoT Analytics, and we haven't mentioned here, and I think people will really be cool about it, is the ability to query data, and in various places, in various ways. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but IoT Analytics has a built-in query engine, but you also, because you're getting these dumps of data, these data sets, can push your data sets out to other places like Athena and things of that nature, and also run queries to see what your data is coming back at as well. And then so you have the integration with QuickSight, the fact that these are data sets and they can push to various things, that means you now open up this IoT data that you filtered and you clean to actually be actionable, and that can go into various services. So I can stick it in a, data warehouse. I can push my data out to S3 and have my data stored there and query on it. I can obviously have the integration with QuickSight. So don't forget about the query engine that is integrated into AWS IoT Analytics, as well as now that you have this data, you can push it out to other AWS services. So yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. One thing to point out as well, that the query engine is also time series optimized. So basically, that's the reason I said the data store is not a specific database.
Yep.
It's abstraction on top of multiple databases. By talking to customers, what we realized that customers, even today, they're using multiple databases because the queries are different. There is difference between querying for state against 10 million devices versus give me latest data points for past 15 minutes. This is widely different use cases. One is time series use case, another one is more analytical use case. And our customers, we notice, are actually building these multiple databases and maintaining the state and synchronization between the multiple databases. So that's one of the important parts. We want to be vocal about is basically we are trying to manage this for customers so they don't need to maintain multiple databases themselves.
That sounds just absolutely fantastic. Another thing you guys are really asking about a lot with IoT Analytics, other than to get started, but I want to mention this before we run out of time, because we always do, and then I try to rattle it off. One, with IoT Analytics, we are in preview, right? So sign up, go out there and check it out. That'll allow you to start to get the documentation, get your feet wet, and really get into the service. And they're looking for your feedback. Are there other ways to give you feedback than just the preview? So how are you guys taking feedback? Obviously the preview, you get that one-on-one. Are there other questions you want people to ask via Twitter or Slack channel? How do you guys want to get that feedback in?
So,
forums?
all of above.
Oh, okay, everything.
So we love feedback. The more we get, we can make sure that the product actually targets customers' needs. So, Twitter, you can find me on Twitter.
Okay.
We have.
What's your Twitter? You gotta give it to them.
It's Sergius B at. That's it.
All right. So one more time, so because you guys didn't hear it, he's on Twitter. Check him out. You can always tweet me, Tara W. All right. So they can reach out to you to Twitter. Any forums that you guys have that are open for people just to ask questions?
So not yet today.
Not yet.
But feel free to go to the AWS IoT core forum and post the question there. And internally, we make sure it routes to the right people. So we will make sure that any questions you have in the AWS IoT forum will be routed and we will answer.
So really quickly, guys, here's another thing. So go out and do the preview. But if you have never done really anything or a lot with IoT or IoT analytics at scale, here's my first suggestion right off the bat. Go out there, log into the console, check out AWS IoT. You can run a simulator that will do MQTT calls back and forth, set up a rules engine, and then you'll be raring to go once you get accepted in the preview. Start there. If you haven't started to play with some of the IoT analytics, get set up on core. For those of you guys that are already hardcore, Greengrass, ML guys, X, Y, and Z, once you get that preview, you're kind of already off to the races.
And just to elaborate on this as well, once you're in the preview, you will receive communications from our PM directly. So you have a unique opportunity actually to influence the design. So basically, PM will be a product manager, will be a proxy to the team as well.
So I'm just going to comment on this. It's a little bit unrelated, but I get this question. If I had like $1 every time I get this question, what about AMQT? We are working to take all of your requests for every protocol that you're interested in. Keep sending us feedback that you want this particular protocol. I knew it was coming. I was just kind of waiting on it. And I don't know if that's Kaylin HS. I knew you were gonna ask. So make sure that you guys come out and reach out to us. We really want to make sure that this product is for you, not for us. Your feedback is valuable. They really take your feedback. Believe it or not, even internally, when they could ignore us, they don't.
I mean, that's the way it works, right? We get the feedback from the customers, and that's what basically stack ranks our features.
Yeah.
If we hear from customers from you, basically, that's what happens. It's not what we decide.
Right, so you guys want different protocols, you want different things, it's your opportunity to sign up for preview. Again, go out there, check it out, sign up for preview. You can tweet me, Tara W. As this thing comes to fruition in GA, you'll hear more from us. Look forward to talking to you later on Twitch. Again, what's your Twitter one more time before we get out?
It's SergiusB.
Yep, tweet us out. All right, we'll be back. Taking just a break, be back. See you guys, thank you.
Bye-bye.